I don't see. Yay.
Hi, everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to Miami View Women, where every Friday at 5 o'clock, you can actually interact here with us on comments, and we can show your comments and actually have a conversation with you. My name is Carolina Castillo, and I am so happy to be here with Miriam Dorset, our producer and fabulous co-host, a woman of many, many hats, and our special guest, Claudia Akel, who is also a woman of many, many hats, one of them being a United Nations Sustainable Development Advocate. I'm so happy to have you here, Claudia, because Miriam has told me so much about you. She speaks so highly of you. And I'm glad that we're finally meeting today.
Yeah, thank you, Carolina. Hi, Miriam. Thank you for joining us, for inviting me to this amazing conversation. So that is right. I have a few hats, but all of them, let's say I can use 17 hats and one each color for everyone. And that's what I do every day. So trying to advance the Sustainable Development Goals here in Miami through Social Impact Movement, which is a nonprofit organization that I co-founded a few years ago. And since 2018, we've been using the Sustainable Development Goals into our core programs, bringing the education component, bringing the awareness component, and now in 2021, bringing them to the business community in Miami.
I love it. And before we get into that, I want to know how you both connected and how you both started working together.
Yeah.
Can you do that, Miriam?
Sure. I mean, it's such a funny, Miami's so small, and I run into Claudia all the time, all over, because we have such common passions that we were talking before this. We were like, where did we meet? But we met at the Conscious Entrepreneurs Roundtable a few years ago, which is a group of entrepreneurs who get together and all have an interest in running their business in a very sustainable way, whether it's like getting your B certification or just being mindful. We all come together just to have a little breakfast and network and connect. And I met Claudia there and then kept seeing her around at Venture Cafe and going to her events. She's always doing such important work. So I'm really grateful that you took time to come today and talk with us on Miami View Women, because you definitely are an amazing woman doing work in Miami.
Well, thank you so
Claudia
much.
was telling us that you had something to do with what's behind her right there with the colors and all of that. So you've been partnering together for a while.
Yeah. So there's a funny story. One day I was in the Venture Cafe and we bump up together and we start talking. I say, hey, Miriam, I need somebody to help me with, creating a nice, colorful headlines for our event. Can you help me? And she said, oh, yeah, I can do that. And so we sat, I remember even the table, we sat in the corner there close to the entry. And we got together with the colors. We're launching the SDGs Ambassador Program. So we had the SDG 5 to highlight. SDG 5, as you see, it's like bright red, orange color. And then we have our own Social Impact Movement color, which is like dark blue. So we got together, and if Miriam can share with the audience what she created. So that was the beginning of the SDG Ambassador Program. I sent 2 images on that email. If you can share later on, we can. Well, I can.
Yeah, and for our viewers, I know just like me, we might be a little lost with what is SDG, and so what we're sharing is exactly what it's about, and what she's going to explain to us of what SDGs are.
Yeah, I will. So this one that Miriam is sharing right now, the red one, is the one that she helped us create for the launch.
I can't believe you still have this.
I still have it. Yeah, you did it. She incorporated the colors, and then she said to me, "I'm not a graphic designer."
I was just gonna say, I'm not a graphic designer.
Fabulous. Good job, Miriam.
Well, I just, I use the Canva. It's not, it's a great, everyone hopefully knows what Canva is. If not, just comment and we'll let you make sure you get the link. And I think it's a great tool for people to use. They can whip things up and look very, together, especially what the work that you were doing, the event you were putting together, so important. And it should look, just as professional as it can be. And I went to that event and it was amazing that the Cindy woman, the speaker there, and everyone that spoke at that event actually was just, that was an amazing event. One of the best events I've been to in Miami.
Yeah, that was a great event. It was the launch of our ambassador program. We've been growing that ambassador program. So we now have 4 ambassadors. Our goal is to have the whole 17 covered. And what we are going to do, we are partnering with Cushman High School students. And the Cushman School will be running with us a new model for the SDG Ambassador Program. We call it SDG Ambassador Model UN, because we're doing a competition with them. So nominating the students in each of these goals. And then we have an ambassador manager right now who is helping us to create the content and the educational portion of that. As you know, with the COVID, we had to reinvent ourselves. We're basically an organization who did a lot of in-person events, and we couldn't just switch to the Zoom idea. So better than going to the Zoom straight, we also have some events on Zoom, but it's not the same level of connection, not the same level of engagement. Mm-hmm. And so we migrated strongly to the educational side, partnering with schools. We now have 2 students from the FIU graduate school from the program Master in Arts of Global Affairs. They are doing a project for us focusing on ocean conservation and the CSR integration. So exploring a lot of our marine life, especially our corals, and bringing that into a lesson plan that will be given to middle school students for the public school. So that is the type of things that we develop. We rely on collaboration. We get people connected because of these goals, but the work get done at the end, each one in our own areas, but mostly collaborating and get advancing together these goals.
These goals are not a joke.
Not a joke.
Each and every single one is just monumental, and you're like, oh, you read over it and you're like, the first one, no poverty.
Yeah.
Like,
the first one,
how are we gonna do that? That's like let's go. Let's break it down and just hit these goals. Like, it sounds great. The United Nations is not playing around when it comes to these goals, and I think especially for the climate ones, we're really ground zero here in Miami for this work. So I'm just grateful to know you and know that you're working on this stuff.
Yeah. And so the 17 of them, well, let's go through them because I don't think people can see what's behind you. So number 1, no poverty. Number 2, zero hunger. 3, good health and well-being. 4, quality education. 5, gender equality. 6, clean water and sanitation. 7, affordable and clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17 is partnerships for the goal.
Yes.
I mean, this seems like one of those utopias where if all of them came together, it would be a perfect society. So tell us a little bit of how you got into into working with the United Nations, into being an advocate. How did that happen?
Okay, so first, the 17 global goals are for us. The United Nations, as the word expressed, United Nations, were 163 countries that got together to sign up these goals in 2000, 2015. It was almost the end of September. The precise day was 25th of September 2015. And they set up these goals to achieve by 2030. That's why you commonly see, the global goals or the global agenda or Agenda 2030. That's the reason, because they set up together to embrace these goals as a common framework for prosperity, for peace, and for our planet. Mm-hmm. If you can, Miriam, get the PDF that I shared with you.
Yeah.
Because that's a cool story. The whole idea of sustainable development started way before 2015. Actually, it was in a meeting in Brazil when they first discussed, the United Nations, they first discussed about the Millennium Development Goals. They got together and say, hey, we need to create something for the year 2000. And so they got together, and by the year 2000, they launched an initiative focused on eradicating poverty. It was wonderful, the achievements all in all, but we have to be honest, they kind of excluded the developing nations. Wow. And that's not an inclusive agenda when you think about it, because they were only focusing on poor countries, on situations that eliminate extreme poverty, prevent deadly diseases, expand universal primary education to all children, and healthcare. So plenty of them were achieved in terms of the goals they proposed. But when 2015 arrived, they sat together and said, hey, we progressed these goals. We lifted half of the population now are lifted from the poverty, but we still have a lot of inequality. Why this is happening? Well, because the other side of the planet were not included. So they decided to include the 17 global goals and then addressing into 3 pillars. And the 3 main pillars are economic development, social progress, and environmental conservation or environmental protection. All these 17 global goals you can scatter into these 3 pillars. And we do it a lot at Social Impact Movement. So when we're talking to companies and individuals to educate them, we tell them, look, maybe you don't understand the whole 17 because there's a lot of goals. So they are 17 goals with 169 targets and 231 indicators. The indicators are the way that the United Nations provide to us to make us understand how can we measure that. So one example of an indicator is proportion of the population. Imagine the one that Miriam just said, the goal 1, and poverty at all forms everywhere. No poverty. So no poverty, the first indicator says proportion of the population living below the international poverty line by sex, age, and employment status and geographic location. So you see, the United Nations, they gave to us precisely where should we look for. So countries learned that. And then there's the second stage. After countries learn that, then the states and cities needs to learn that as well. And that's the stage we're trying to bring to Miami, where we get our city involved, our city responsibles, our city, all the counties together to learn about the SDGs and to implement and align their best practices with these goals.
I'm on board. What type of support have you been getting from our city representatives?
Well, the Sustainable Development Goals, it's interesting because our new mayor, Daniela Nevin-Cava, she joined the launch of the SDGs in Miami. So SDGs in Miami, as you see a hashtag here, SDGs in Miami. We launched it with Social Impact Movement on early 2018. There was this event that we did at Brickell City Center WeWork space. And we invited plenty of people from the Miami area, from the tech community, business community, Changemakers, the major schools, you name it, FIU, Idea Center, everybody got together, and even the city level. So back then, Daniela Levin joined us in this event. And this is something for us to pay attention, because now she's the mayor, and she already embraced these goals when she was not a mayor yet. She was a commissioner. So now we have the support from the city of Miami, and we also have the support of nice organizations and companies that are advancing these goals at local levels. And we have plenty of them to tell you about. We have companies such as Lady Green Miami, who are embracing these goals in the food waste, all the thing that she created with the recycling.
So if I want to get more involved, I feel like I really haven't been as involved as I should be. 2030 is right around the corner. Okay. And so what about other people? If we want to get involved, how do we get involved? How do we support this? It's just because it's a little bit overwhelming. A lot of it is 17 major goals.
Yeah. Where do we start?
Yeah.
First step, go to Social Impact Movement and join us. You can join us through the Facebook page. You can join us by clicking or sending a message on our Instagram, or you can join us by going to our website, and there's a space for joining us. And then you get our contact, and then we're going to call you or email you, get in touch with you, and to start presenting the areas that you can collaborate, because that's what we believe. We create this systemic collaboration methodology where we get people connected to these goals from all different industries.
So do we get to choose, depending on our industry, what we would like to focus on, whether it's climate crisis or poverty? So we get to choose as individuals, as citizens.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
then how we, with our work and with our network, then implement that with you to then make it sustainable and advance it in our communities. Is that how it works?
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. That's the
so
service that we do.
Us, this is what you need to do in order to be working towards these goals.
Yes.
Or are there specific asks that sustainable social impact movement SDGs are asking for to be passed, legislation, rules? Are we, I'm always ready for a fight or something.
Yeah. But so the major idea of going through a nice agenda, a unified framework, is that we ended up creating better policies for us to live in the future. No? We can't have these policies maybe right now, but if we collaborate together and if we embrace areas that we all need to advance, we ended up, okay, so now we see that this needs to be changed. So to arrive at, we need to collaborate first. And that's what we do at Social Impact Movement. We bring these people together, so we work on the connection, we work on the analysis of businesses who are willing to adopt the Sustainable Development Goals. They can call us, and then we do a baseline assessment. We go through them, and we can offer one of our programs that will be starting very soon is the SDG Impact Pledge, which is a program that we created together with another nonprofit organization called Accountable Impact, founded by Scarlett Lanzas. You probably know Scarlett. She's on board, president. And what we do together, we invite the business community to choose one of these goals. Just as Carolina said, it's too much to focus on 17 things. So we are inviting the business community individually to choose, well, I think I would like to focus on, clean water and sanitation, because I have an industry that somehow pollutes or somehow creates a challenge for the community. So I want to embrace that area. Or the other one can say, no. My thing is gender equality. So I want to have a perfect group of employees working for me, balanced. We work with your company. We work with you. So that's the service that we provide.
Like the management, let's say you just said gender equality. So do you train the management to be able to present this to their employees and their managers and their colleagues? Okay, this is awesome.
So, yeah. And then we bring the language, because that's a whole new language, as you see, 17 goals, targets. Yeah, right. It's a little confusing. So we debrief the language for the companies, and we invite them to, together with us, to teach their own employees about these goals. And then if the employees are getting engaged, so you feel that the whole company will start thinking about it in a more meaningful way. Let's say.
Have you gone up to like the legislature in Tallahassee? Have you been able to change policy, or is that something that you're still working on?
Yeah, we're still working on. So we're working on education on a base level right now, where we need to transform the community. That's what Miriam saw when we did a lot of events that we have done. That's
we need to transform our public schooling. I know Miriam is really passionate about that, and that's like something that policy can change, and electeds can be changed and improve that side of our community.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. And guess what? 2030 is on the corner. We're already discussing 2021 and how we're gonna be on the end of 2021, because we have specific challenges, especially on the COVID pandemic time, that we need to overcome. So imagine this agenda, unfortunately, to be achieved by 2030, all of us need to embrace now, but hugely, adopt it.
And you have partnerships with like universities? Are college students helping? Do you have that kind of partnership with universities? Are millennials and Generation Z involved? Because I really do feel that they are not only our future, but our present. They're just so involved and engaged.
Yes, they are fundamental. At Social Impact Movement, our ambassadors are all young. And the new ones that are coming with the partnership that I mentioned to you with the Cushman School, that we'll be doing starting now. We just started with them because the semester just started. And we have a new proposal for the SDG Ambassador model, when we get students age 25 less to be the representation of each of these goals. And then at the end of the year, we're going to get a huge debate session with them, where real issues coming from these 17 goals, but issues that are pertaining to Miami, issues that are from our local area, not issues that we see, country-wise, but things that are happening here connected with these goals.
I love it.
Very good.
I love it. So what drives you? What's your motto?
Wow, my motto is, I love that question, because I remember when I created the motto a few years ago, it's still so updated. It is live the life you want to live in today. No, create the world you want to live in today. That's my motto. And everything that I do is focusing on that. So every business that I join or create or co-found, I'm always thinking that, is that the future that I want to bring for my today? So that's the whole idea. And in the Social Impact Movement, we have a few hashtags that are all together with us. So we became members of Catalyst 2030, which is a global movement of social entrepreneurs that started last year in the World Economic Forum. So we're celebrating a year and helping them to implement the USA chapter together with them. So that's going to be a nice challenge. Another good thing that happened to us during the COVID year, which is for so many people a challenging year, for us as well, but we try to create new alliances and become more exposed to international actors to bring these goals, localizing these goals, but with the structure from outside. And that's what we're able to accomplish. So the last thing that happened to us and started on January 1st, we became official members, signatories from the United Nations Global Compact, which is the branch of the United Nations who talk to businesses, have specific frameworks to measure impact for businesses.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a big win for Miami.
It is, because through our participation at United Nations Global Compact, we'll be inviting more businesses to follow up our pathway, because, you can apply, you just have to send your application and be mindful of the commitments you need to follow up. So it's, let's say, if you are a B Corp, it's a no-brainer for you because you already have gone through all the levels. But if you are not a B Corp, it's still something that you should pursue as a company. Not only through the network you get in, but mainly because how you are seen by your community, by your clients, by your buyers, people that will be purchasing your products. So that's the whole idea, is to what is the image that I'm going to show to the future millennials who will be buying my product or consuming my services? And that's when we bring the Sustainable Development Goals to the business community, explaining to them, hey, it's beyond sustainability. You have to be connected with that because you risk not existing in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's more than just PR. It's what are you doing? Are you taking action? Are you involved? Are you engaged? And so with very little time left on our clock, what advice do you have for young ladies, young women, young entrepreneurs to really get involved with you? What advice would you have for them right now?
Well, first of all, I say it's very easy to get connected to us. We're everywhere. So if you type social impact movement, or if you type SDGs Miami, you will find us. No, because we're there, and we've been creating a lot of noise, good noise, but now is the time that we need to work. So enough of saying it's not for me later on. No, it's now. So my recommendation and my ask for everyone: join now, today. Don't wait, next year or when the pandemic finished. No, do it today.
I echo it. I'm on board. I'm looking.
That is great advice. Only for tomorrow. Como dicen en español, no dejes para mañana lo que puedes hacer hoy. Así que háganlo.
And we have in our community a lot of Spanish speakers as well, so we can totally embrace if people are a little bit concerned, I just speak Spanish, or I'm not that confident in my English. We have an amazing community of collaborators who are from the Spanish community as well. And even for the Brazilians, eu sou brasileira, and I would like to convidar a comunidade brasileira a participar também do Sustainable Development Goals. Para nós, em português, é Objetivos do Desenvolvimento Sustentável em Miami. So thank you, ladies, for giving this space.
Bravísimo, porque también hablas italiano, así que brava.
Sì.
Internazionale.
Anche io posso invitare la comunità italiana per partecipare di questa agenda, perché il Sustainable Development Goals sono per tutti.
See, viewers, we don't bring just anyone on our show. Like world global citizens that speak 5 languages. So.
I know, you guys belong in like a James Bond movie or something. It's just I'm into it. I'm feeling the vibes, ladies.
Right? And this cool vibes today on this Friday. I'm so glad to have you here, Claudia, de verdad. Ha sido un placer.
Gracias, Carolina. Miriam, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who watched us. And as I said, join us today. Look for socialimpactmovement.org and call us.